Hi and welcome to nimble.handmade. My name is Bia and I'm coming to you from Belgium. In this 10th episode of the Yarny Tales, I would like to take you with me on my adventures in Yarny Land, of course. I want to show you what I have finished, what's on my needles, and all the other things that are still to come. So grab yourself something to drink and maybe a project, and we can dive right in. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is, of course, my Advent shawl or, scarf. It's really a huge scarf. This is the True Colors by Melanie Berg. It's a German designer. She has wonderful designs, and I am very happy and pleased with how it turned out for me. I used the Advent yarn of Het Wolbeest, which is a dyer here in the Netherlands. I'm in Belgium, but the Netherlands is very close. So that's quite of a local yarn dyer. My Advent calendar, I paired it up with some very fluorescent pink mohair yarn. You can see that, of course, here. And it turns out that I needed quite a lot of the fluorescent pink, but not so much from the other colors in the Advent calendar. So I have really a lot of them left. I'm just gonna take a basket to show you how much I still have left. It's really a lot, as you can see. So I'm wondering what to do with it. On the one hand, I'm thinking, I received a lot of suggestions in the Dutch podcast. So Breibabbel is the Dutch version of this Yarny Tale. If you are new on the channel, just make sure that you always pick the right version, because I make two of each, one in English and one in Dutch, or Flemish. Flemish is the variety of Dutch that we speak over here in Mechelen, that is in between Antwerp and Brussels. So yeah, back to the scarf, of course. I still have leftovers, many leftovers, and I think it's just it would be a waste not to use them. So I was wondering if I could still make a sweater out of it. I did that last year. I made the Lace and Fade boxy by Hohi Locatelli. I didn't think of wearing it today, but I will sure wear it in another episode. And for this year, I'm pondering two patterns. So the first one is the Light Bright. I'm just gonna check. That's made by Wool and Pine. Selena and Abby from Wool and Pine. They create these beautiful, stunning patterns, and this one is a really showstopper. Really a showstopper because of the fade they make in it. I think it's really attractive, and I could use my yarn double to create about the same effect. I don't think I will have enough to make the entire t-shirt, but I think I will manage to find a color to match it. Now, when I blocked this one, I wet blocked this one, I found out that, well, the yarn bleeds a bit, and I'm not sure if it's the neon pink mohair or the colors that are in the Advent. So I don't want something bleeding into a very light contrast color like some cream or something, although I think it will be beautiful to have the body part in cream. So I am thinking about maybe some black or some aubergine to combine with it, but we don't have that many yarn dyers here in the Low Countries. So I was wondering if it would be a good fit to use a commercial yarn, which is just one color, black, or that I should look into finding a yarn dyer that has a dark aubergine or black in a hand dyed yarn. So I'm not very sure about that one, but maybe I could solve that problem if I didn't make the Light Brights t-shirt, sweater, um, but make the Mabon sweater instead. So the Mabon sweater is a pattern by Mortensen. She's a German designer, but Mabon is of course a Celtic celebration in autumn, and therefore it has some pine cones, and I'm not sure if I'm seeing this well. So in my opinion, it has some reference to autumn, and I want to make something rather for spring. But then again, it might be the colors that trick me into thinking that it's autumn. And maybe if I would leave out all the details that are down below at the edges of the sleeve and the bottom of the body, then maybe it would be more of an all-round pattern. So if you could help me out on this one, about how I should look at it, and maybe, well, let me know your preference then in the comments, then that would really help me out in making a decision on how to go forward with this one. Nevertheless, I am not out of projects yet, not in a long time, so there is no hurry. I'm going to show you the rest that is on my needles. And the first thing that is on my needles is this one. I'm just gonna show you what I already have. It's the sweater number 20 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So it's from Louise has designed it. She's a Danish fashion designer and a real fashion designer. She was in the fashion industry before she started designing knitwear. And I think you can see that. She has the most beautiful patterns, very elegant. Yeah, she knows what she is working on. I am using Novita Isoveli to create this. I'm just gonna pick a ball. So it's this yarn. And I really like working with it. It is in fact a sock yarn. So it's a DK sock yarn out of 75% wool. Sorry, I think it's a Scandinavian brand. The first things are Scandinavian, and I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't really read it. But I think it's 75% wool and 25% polyester or polyamide. So it's a very sturdy wool yarn, and I think it works up really economically, as I can say that, because I have only used half a skein for this part, and you might wonder what this part is. I am not, it's not to be looked at this way, it's supposed to be this way. So you are making it from the top to the bottom, and this is the back. So this is the neckline for in the back, and this is where you will attach some stitches, and these stitches go over the shoulder, and then you make the collar, and then here comes still a bit of fabric, and then you close it and you go on in the round. So if you were wondering what kind of weird shape of sweater I was knitting up, this is how it's going to look. So the yarn is recycled yarn from my own stash. I started knitting the tundra cardigan, but then it turned out not to be my thing, and I switched. So I took it all out, and it was a lot. I'm just gonna find my yarn ball. So I did wind it into these cakes, and this is the cake. This is the first cake. So the skeins are 100 gram, but this is the first cake, and I still have like half of it left, and I already have this much. So I have 13 skeins, and the pattern says I need more. I think about 17 or something, but that would make a really heavy sweater because yeah, it would be like 1700 grams. Like, it's almost a sweater weighing 2 kilograms. I think that will build me some muscle. But as you can see, I think I will manage to do it with the 13 balls I have in my stash, and otherwise I bought it at a local yarn store here in Mechelen. She has it in stock. I could always do like cuffs and the bottom border in another color. Do you say color bath? It's the literal translation, but I don't think it's said that way. Well, in English, but I think you know what I mean. So every batch, I think it's a batch, is different, or a little bit different, but we will manage to solve the problem whenever it arises. And then the other one, because last time I was wondering what to do. Should I start the cabled sweater or should I start the next one? And then I got reactions, people loving the cabled sweater, but also the other one. And I do too. And I really wanted to work up the Pleutelope yarn because, well, it's the winter time over here and we're slowly getting into spring, but I still want this yarn to use as a warm sweater. So, ta-da! I started. Oops, my yarn is in front, I'm sorry. Just need to see that I'm not pulling too hard. I will explain in a minute. This is what it looks like at the moment. I started the Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Watt. Camilla Watt, I don't know where she's from, but I know that she has a lot of beautiful designs, and I am really in love not only with this sweater but also her field collection. I will put up a picture of the collection, or one of the items in the collection. It's and I don't know how that is called in English, but she knits some kind of wheat pattern or barley, or yeah, I think it's a wheat that was her inspiration. But anyway, I think it's a marvelous pattern, and she has many items with the same wheat pattern. Nevertheless, first let's look into this one. I think it's turning out really beautiful, but it's not easy. So I'm making this with Pleutelope yarn, which is an Icelandic yarn, and it comes in a plate like this. and it's unspun yarn. So what it looks like, and well, there you have it. It's not attached anymore to my work. I will need to reattach it, and it's not hard to reattach it because you can simply take this strand and then roll it together with your fingers with the other strand and then knit over it. But, well, for this sweater it's not really something to try because, well, you start over here with the collar. You make it double and then you fold it, and on the inside you pick up, oops, you pick up your cast on, but of course you need to pull a little, and the yarn in itself is sturdy enough to hold up for the sweater because of the hairs that are in the yarn. The yarn is dual fleece. It's Icelandic yarn. These Icelandic sheep have a dual coat. I explained that in the former videos. But as is, it's not strong. I can show you how easily it breaks. It's like butter. And for this pattern, you need a sturdier yarn. That's something that's quite out of the question because it's not only at the collar that you have to wiggle with your needles and pull a little and then maybe break your yarn. Also, when you make these bubbles. So these bubbles are made like a bubble stitch in crochet, which is harder with a knitting needle, but not impossible. However, it is quite impossible using 2 strands of yarn. So you wiggle this, you not wiggle, you fold this yarn a number of times around your needle, and then you take them off one by one, which means 2 by 2, but you have a lot on your needle, so you can't quite see which one is which. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you can't really wiggle with the stitches because they might break. And then the third thing is for this row, I really, that was a horrible row, but for these two, you have not only the bubble stitches to manage, but next to the bubble stitches are also invisible increases. Well, it's almost not possible to do it with this yarn, but I managed to pass this one, this piece, and I think I'm good now. So I'm getting used to the yarn, and I will do it in another way when it comes to yarn management in future. So now I am taking the yarn out of the yarn plate. So I have the 2 plates really close next to me, because when you put them on the floor or in a basket, what I normally do, then you just pull the yarn and it just breaks. So what I will do next with the next yarn plates is put them on this, is it a spindle? I don't know how to call it. Well, it's this pin where you put your yarn on and then it turns around because it has a rotator at the bottom. So hopefully that will help, but it's not a thing that you can bring with you because it's all too fragile. Yeah, but nevertheless, I think it's looking gorgeous, and that the lace work is coming out nicely. The bubbles are a bit uneven for the reason I just mentioned, but I can see that in the pattern itself, in the original photos, it's uneven as well. So I don't think it will be a problem. It will be something, well, the eye will see the pattern, and I hope the eye will not see that it's not even. I think it might block out as well, because this yarn is the thinner version of the Pleutelopi, the Letlopi yarn that I used for my Christjorn sweater, and that blocked out magnificently. So I have good hopes with this one, and I will carry on. So I will keep calm and carry on with my knitting, although I will have to manage a lot. This will be a sweater that I will never take out, because it simply will not be possible. So the next one I have are socks. The Cider House socks by Summer Lee. She is an American designer, and she only designs socks. And she has a marvelous collection of socks, of course. I chose the Cider House socks. So these are called, I don't know the reason behind it, maybe I might look it up, but these are called the Cider House socks, and I chose to make the original version. She has a new version of them, in which she uses three skeins that she fades into one another, and I think they are gorgeous. They are also a bit looser, a bit slouchy, but the foot is plain. So for the original version, the front part of the foot will be on the same as this, and then the bottom, the sole of your foot will be, of course, in plain stockinette. I think I'm going for that version. I was wondering about it because indeed it fits nicer in shoes, I think, when you don't have a pattern or some cables on your foot. But then again, I sometimes notice it, because it's like you see where the cables end, and then there is a bit of plain sock. And when you use a speckled yarn or something hand dyed, then it's not that noticeable. But in this commercial yarn, it is noticeable, I think. So this is a solid color, and it's Yawool by Lang. It certainly isn't my favorite yarn, because it's quite thin for a sock yarn. But I'm quite changing my mind, because I combined it with Yawool silk, and this one is a bit thicker, and it's so soft. It's a dream. So turns out that I could use it for the details of the cuff, but I will use it combined with another silk, another color of Yawool silk for another pair of socks, because I really like to knit with this one, but not so much this one, because it's so thin. For this pattern, it doesn't matter, because I used a 2mm needle for the cuff, and then I switched to 2.5 needles. Of course, I used more stitches. I think the stitch count is 72, and normally I use 64 stitches, but that is why in cables you need to go up a size. So that's why I started with 72 stitches. I already tried them on my leg, and they fit nicely, and they're really snug. So I'm very pleased with that. And for the cables, it turns out that I can use the 2.5 needle with the well, thinner sock yarn. So yeah, I really like to differentiate between my projects, because working on this, although it's also cables, is it uses different muscles in my hands than a bigger cable sweater or the Magnolia bloom, which was very hard on my hands. That will be better in future. So that's why I always have a mix of projects on the needles. For this one, it's the first time that I knit cables in socks, and I didn't manage to find a cable needle that was thin enough to fit into my yarn. So I tried a couple of things. I tried doing it with a darning needle, but of course a darning needle is made to go smoothly through your fabric, and that's exactly what I didn't want, because it fell out all the time. And then I stopped on this one. So it's just a regular stitch marker, so the plasticky stitch markers. Normally I use a Lite stitch markers, not because they are so thin and fine that they don't catch on your fabric. But now I use this as my cable needle. So what I do is I open it, I take off the stitches for the cable, put them in front or in the back as requested. Then I knit my stitches that are still on the regular needle. I put the stitches from this one back on the needle, and then I knit them, and then I have my cable. Might do a little movie on that. It's not really clear, I think. Anyways, I will show it in future how it works and how it all works out. It's quite a slow project because I don't work on it very often. I want to always have a project for on the go. It's something that I just throw into my bag and take with me. And well, it's not plain stockinette, of course, but it is a mix of pearls and knits, and for a number of needles, and then you do the cable row, which is a bit more intricate, of course, but in the end it's still a knit that you can take with you. So that being said, I think we can move on to the next project. And the next project is not only soothing for the hands but also for the soul. This is my self-care blanket. As I said in my earlier videos, I am a chronic migraine patient, and sometimes a lot of the times, I just can't concentrate, and I still want to feel useful in some way, to just not sit there and wait till it goes away. But I have noticed that even when I start doing something, I'm quite convinced that it's all alright, and then in the end it turns out to be entirely wrong and I need to go back. So I started my soul-soothing square blanket. And that's, I'm just going to show you a square. I showed some squares already in the former episodes of the Yarny Tales, but I don't know which ones. So I'm just going to show them again and talk a little bit about it. So as you can see, I of course you start in the middle. It's always in the middle. But in the middle there are some yellowish colors, then they go into the pinks, and then at the end there is the greenish, bluish, maybe some gray every now and again. That's how I, well, not ordered, I put them in this order in my larger yarn baskets with all scraps, and I pull from these every time. So I have these large baskets up here in the attic, and then I come up with my little basket like Little Red Riding Hood, and I pick my 10 colors, I put them in the basket, and then I can go sit on the sofa and just make the granny square. Don't overthink anything, just a smooth sailing, as they say, to make these squares. And afterwards, I will, so they are quite colorful, but afterward I will attach them to one another with a solid color. I think something beige or gray or something that will make it a little less poof. But this is how far it already is. I must say I thought that there would be more yarn required to make a blanket, but I was clearly wrong about that, because I still have a lot of yarn left. So I I should start thinking about how big I want to make it, and how I will manage to attach it to one another, how thick the border will be, etc. So that's something I will do when I don't have a headache. And then we can see from there. Another granny square item is my bag, of course. It's the Start to Granny crocheted bag, and it's attacking me at the moment. For which I will be giving a workshop at Wool Story in Mechelen. Even if you are English speaking, you can participate in the workshop. Just indicate that to Gabrielle when you book the workshop, and then you can take part and I will translate for you. So this is one that is made in my Scrumptious challenge. I put myself into the challenge to design with 3 kilometers of yarn. It's the Scapious Scrumptious box, and I'm well on my way now. But anyway, everything about this workshop will follow soon, because it will be given in April. And the other workshops that are going on is for the sugar spikes. Sorry, I forgot the name of my own design. The sugar spikes. The sugar spikes shawl. It's the end of the episode. Anyway, we had a marvelous time together during the workshop on the 11th. That was a workshop at night, and the next one is next week, and it will be given on a Saturday morning. But the last one was a very fun workshop. It's not that easy to learn how to do the Tunisian crochet, and again, and also manage the chevron stitch, because that involves a number of other stitches than just a Tunisian a simple stitch. So I was very glad that in the end all ladies went home with just the start of the shawl, and they are working on it, and the results are stunning. So I really enjoyed the workshop, and I hope they did as much as I did. But if you want to participate in the workshop next Saturday, I think there are still one or two places available. Just go to the website of Wall Story, and she will help you out on subscribing for the workshop. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If so, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And yeah, if you have any ideas how I can manage all my doubts about the patterns I want or need to knit, then please leave me a comment. And for now, bye. I will see you in the next one.